once again. Yeah, recording is on. And the floor is yours, Jessica.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Thanks for having me on to talk about my game, Light Cycles. So this is the first game that I've released, really, for Commodore 8-bits. So I guess I should start with who I am. I, like many of us probably in this group, started with a Commodore computer back in the 1980s. I think the first computer I ever used was actually a PET. And my father would take me to work, and they would let me use the PETs they had in the office. And then in school, I learned the Apple II, and then I got my own Commodore 64 in 1985. And I would write games in BASIC and other programs and things, but I always found BASIC very limiting. And then eventually I went on to get a degree in electronics, and after graduation I kind of regained interest in 8-bit computers, and specifically the Commodore 64. So I got a little bit into like cracking games, breaking copy protection, and things like that. I was active on Usenet, CompSys, CVM in the 90s. More recently, I was talking with a friend of mine, Jim Happel, who's developed a joystick and sound interface for the PET called the Stupid Pet Tricks module. I don't know if anyone has heard of that here, but it's a product he sells through his website. I have a link to this in my presentation. So Jim and I were discussing a game that we could potentially write that would take advantage of this joystick interface to create a 2-player game. And I think he actually suggested the classic Tron Light Cycle game as a good candidate. So I started writing this game in BASIC. And of course, it was very slow when I finished writing it. So I started looking at ways that I could make it run at a reasonable speed. I looked at compiling my BASIC program and found that there wasn't really great solutions for that. So I determined I would rewrite the game in a language called Turbo Rascal, or TRSE. So this is a more modern language. It's a cross compiler, which creates assembly code. And it's very similar to Pascal. So I rewrote the game in TRSE, and it was a lot of fun, to be honest. It was very easy to use this language, and I was able to get it done in a pretty short amount of time. If I had tried to write the entire game in assembly, I would still probably be working on the PET version. So the initial version I wrote for the PET in BASIC, rewrote it in Turbo Rascal for the PET, and more recently I've ported this to the VIC-20, and I'm currently working on the Commodore 64 version. So the C64 version is almost done. I want to use the most of the machine that I can. So using all the features, I want to add sprites, kind of like improve the graphics and things. But it is fully playable as of right now. So my plans going forward, let's say I finished the 64 version. I think I'll do one for the +4. I want to take advantage of the improved palette, the color palette on the +4. So I'll probably have the trails, like leaving like a gradient instead of being a solid color. I'm considering making like a deluxe version of the game that would probably have like teams of cycles. So maybe like could be like up to 4 like human players and then like maybe 4 computer players or more. It'd be like a battle royale. Other projects I have in mind, I have a lot of old basic games that, I have never released because, they run too slow because they're in basic, but I'm thinking I may rewrite these and release them at some point. A lot of other plans for games, but obviously time limitations are the biggest factor. And then I'm also planning to fix more pet games to work with the stupid pet tricks module. Because there are, there's a pretty good selection of games on the pet, but unfortunately most of them don't support joystick control. So one of the things I've been helping Jim with is converting these older games so they can make use of the his joystick adapter. And so if you visit his website, he actually has a download disc that has all this collection on it. Okay, so at this time, I think I'd like to give like a brief demonstration of the game, if I can.
Yes, of course. Yes.
Okay, so this is a version that includes an Easter egg. So it should be featured in an upcoming episode. I'm just going to mute this real quick. So this should be featured in an upcoming episode of 8-Bit Show and Tell. I'm friends with Robin Harbron, who does that channel, and he mentioned to me he's doing a video on games with Easter eggs. So he suggested that I add an Easter egg to my game so he can feature it. So I'll give you a brief demonstration. All right, so this is the Commodore 64 version. All right, so under very specific circumstances, you can make the enemy opponent crash into the wall, and it will leave an opening in the wall, which you can then drive through. So that accesses the Easter egg. So this is kind of a joke about the Vintage Computer Festival we just had in Chicago, which is a VCF Midwest, with the parking lot was completely full of cars and many people had to park far away. So I just thought it would be fun to include in the game. So yeah, so that's my game. Any questions? Anyone?
Is the C64 version available right now, or are you still working on it?
It is available for download. It's in beta right now. I can share the link in the chat. So my games are on itch.io. They're published as donationware, so you can download them for free.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's really nice. Thanks to many thanks. I probably lost the sound for a few seconds, so I didn't get that we were already at the questions. I see. I'm reading the comments now. I see. I love the Easter egg. Yes, me as well. Thank you. Either too early or too late in the season, but it's not Easter yet. Yeah. Pretty good. Maybe one question from my end. So first of all, can you hear me well now? Because
I hear you. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. So you said that you're also converting games, but are you then starting them really from the original source code, or are you just rewriting them from scratch?
Oh no, as far as fixing the games which are are you talking about the games that I'm fixing to work with the joystick adapter, or
No,
creating
you
different
mentioned
versions?
that you are converting some games to the to this version, to this joystick, to make them work with the joystick.
Right. So fixing these older games, obviously there's no source code available for these pet games that were written 40, 50 years ago. So basically just take the binary and I'm just hacking the binary. Basically, I use a machine language monitor, and I will search the code for places where I can see that it's reading like the keyboard interface, so I can see where where it's getting the control mechanism in the program. So I can just I usually hijack that and then patch some assembly code at the end to read the stupid pet tricks module, and then jump back to where the code expects to be.
Good. Thank you.
Any
I had
other
actually
questions?
I had the same question, but you answered already about the C64 version. So yeah, you said you will put the link somewhere. That's in the chat. That's very nice. When you do so, do you also post the code somewhere? Do you have like a GitHub or something? Or
I do have GitHub. I will post my GitHub link as well. So the source code for light cycles, for now, it's not public. So I think once I finish making different versions, I will make it public. My fear is if I make it public before I'm done, then someone might release a version for a platform before I'm able to do it.
Yeah, that's a risk, of course. Yeah.
Right.
Definitely. I see some comments on Facebook as well. There are some people attending there, and I can read it for you from Dave. Awesome to hear about another Turbo Rascal success story. Love the Easter egg.
Great.
Enjoy.
Glad to hear it.
Good. I don't have any other question. I don't know if anybody from the attendees have a questions. If so, then please unmute yourself.
Okay. Thanks for having me on.
If not, then yeah, well, many thanks to you, Jessica. I will stop the recording now.